Former AEW Women's World Champion, the Glamour Mariah May, is looking like she's headed to WWE. Last month, Mariah May made the wrestling headlines as it was reported that May was to be her contract year. She had originally signed a 2-year deal with AEW, no option year, and she made her debut in November of 2023. And yesterday, Mariah May was back in the headlines as everyone discovered that she had been removed from the AEW roster page. Now, normally when we see things like this happen, it tips people off in basically expecting that person to no longer be with AEW and possibly jumping over to another promotion, in this case, WWE. During the time that we first learned that Mariah May's contract was going to be up, we also learned by reports from Dave Meltzer that it was clear to those in WWE that knew Mariah May wanted to come to WWE, and that those within AEW were also expecting her to go to WWE, which is why everyone kind of expected this. I am not surprised whatsoever that Mariah May is jumping over to the other side. I think that right now is the hottest she ever has been, coming off of her feud with Toni Storm in AEW, which was tremendous. And so for her to go to WWE at this point, this was probably the best time for her to do so. Now, of course, everyone's going to look at that a little bit differently, but I do want to go ahead and break this down. So, we haven't seen Mariah May since AEW Revolution. That was the Hollywood ending match that got 5 stars because Toni Storm and Mariah went out and put on this bloody, violent spectacle. If you did not see this match, you must watch this match. This was very, very cool wrestling, not just women's wrestling, but very, very cool wrestling because it was so violent. It fit the storyline perfectly because Toni Storm and Mariah May had truly gone through hell and back. Toni Storm's feud with Mariah was Mariah's biggest thing that she did in AEW. That was her biggest story. I believe that that was the story that put Mariah May on the map. I believe that her Hollywood ending match is the match that put Mariah May on the map. And that's honestly, they had other matches, good matches too. Prior to Hollywood ending, they had also had a main event match at AEW Grand Slam where Mariah May dropped the title to Toni Storm because she had been holding it since their match from All In Wembley, which was another really good match. That one was even great too because Mariah May, I think, is really good as a heel. That is Mariah May's strong suit, in my opinion. I think she works better as a heel than she does as a babyface, and that's just from what I've seen from her in AEW. But at All In, this woman was slapping her mother and just being so nasty. I feel like all of the moments that Mariah May got the most over is when she was being a cold hearted, blooded killer. You name it. Like when she turned on Toni Storm and started attacking her with the shoe, it was one of the most violent things you saw the women do in AEW. It was crazy. And so getting to see her do that and then go into this long saga of a story with Toni, that was star making quality because that feud, in my opinion, changed a lot of things, not just for Toni Storm, which is she's one of the most popular people in AEW, one of the most popular people in wrestling right now. I also firmly believe that I think after their feud, women's wrestling in AEW was appreciated a little bit more because what they saw is that what they saw is that when you put investment in stories and women's storytellings and you're really, really vigilant in details and the way that you do things and you actually let them go out and have matches, especially like this, it shows that the fans really, really care because by the end of this, by the end of Hollywood ending, people were saying that should have been the main event to Revolution. People were saying this is what should have closed the show because of how good it was. And so I really, truly believe that Mariah May and Toni Storm changed AEW women's wrestling and the trajectory of AEW women's wrestling for the better. Even if Mariah May goes off to WWE, I still believe that she did play a huge part in the future of women's wrestling in AEW. And so shout out to them for that performance. So if you've never seen Mariah May perform, like I said, she's better as a heel. She can get very, very violent. She's really good with blood. She also has a very like flirtatious kind of style, but in a hard hitting way. It's really hard to describe. She's a good wrestler. I did not see one bad match of Mariah May in AEW, aside from the stuff that she did with Toni Storm. I also love the stuff that she did with Thunder Rosa and also her bestie, Mina Shirakawa, who unfortunately they kind of just missed each other, even though they did get to wrestle on Winter is Coming, which was a fun match. And I wish we would have been able to see a lot more between Mina and Mariah. But Mina is now all elite as Mariah is essentially exiting. So they kind of just missed each other in terms of being full-time AEW wrestlers, because when Mina was there, she still wasn't full-time in AEW. So I did love the work that she did with Mina, and I think that Mariah May is a very fun personality. I've interviewed her on this channel several times, and she is a longtime wrestling fan. She told me about the days when she used to stay up late to watch wrestling when she was in London. She would go to school and talk about wrestling. So she was known as, the wrestling fan girl, things like that. And so she has been dedicated to this. She hustled in Japan, which is where Tony Khan discovered her and brought her to AEW. And AEW really changed her life. It really did. She spoke about everything that AEW did for her, because obviously she had to move countries. She changed and uprooted her entire life with AEW, and AEW put her on a new spotlight, so that eventually, now that she's going to WWE from the looks of it, I believe that truly happened because of that spotlight that AEW gave her. And of course, her work in Stardom is what got her that opportunity in AEW. So it's all been this like bouncing effect of one thing that led to another for Mariah. So I feel like a lot of fans are going to really like her in WWE. And one of the things that's so funny, one of the things that I remember people on social media would say was they would call Mariah May a Temu Tiffany Stratton. And I personally thought that they were so wrong on that, because Tiffany Stratton's character and Mariah May's character are nothing alike. They've never been alike. I know this, guys. I watch both products. They're not alike whatsoever. All they have is that they're both beautiful blonde bombshells. That's literally the similarity. That's about it. And I feel like I would say Mariah May is a far more edgier, but mainly because I've seen her be violent to the degree that I've seen her in AEW, and I have not seen that from Tiffany Stratton. But they're so different to me. I do not see them as the same. So it's so funny, because I think people have been starting to delete those tweets now. Or so I heard, that people that once tweeted Timu Tiffany Stratton are no longer tweeting that out, especially now that she's going over to WWE. So here's the deal. I believe that Mariah May is going to kick ass in WWE. I'm proud that she's moving her career forward, guys. That's what you got to keep doing. You got to keep growing, and you got to do what makes you happy. If her dream was to go to WWE, that's her dream, guys. Like, we can't stop her. I'm going to miss her in AEW. I think she still had so much more she could have done in AEW. I would have loved to see her feud with Mercedes Moné. I would have loved to see her do stuff with Jamie Hayter, more with Willow Nightingale. I mean, there were so many stories that could have still happened with her in AEW, but she went out there. She had the story of a lifetime, matches of a lifetime with Toni, and she won the AEW Women's World Championship. She was also the Owen Hart Cup winner for the year of 2024. So she really did do a lot in AEW and really established herself. So now, if she does appear in WWE, I don't know when she's going to be making her debut, but I do hope she gets there way before Evolution so that she could appear on Evolution. I do hope to see her on that. And everybody's been wondering, is she going to go to Raw? Is she going to go to SmackDown? Is she going to go to NXT? My personal opinion and prediction is that she should go to NXT. And the reason I say that is right now we're seeing a lot of the NXT gals go over to the main roster. Stephanie McCare, Julia, for example, and possibly Jordan Grace. So right now I feel like there's a lot of attention on those people. And I feel like there is a huge, even though there's so many women on NXT, I still feel like there's a gap where if Mariah May did come in and with the buzz that she's coming in with right now, having been a former AEW wrestler, I believe that she would become, a top gal over on NXT. I do believe she can have an NXT Women's Championship reign. No doubt about it. So I just feel like right now there's more opportunity for her on NXT, even though if she were to go to Raw and SmackDown, that girl is ready. Are you kidding me? That girl is ready. She's got character work down. She's a great wrestler, a great storyteller. I'm sorry, she is main roster ready, but I do think that her being on NXT would probably allow more opportunities for her instead of maybe just chilling in the back, Because again, you got Roxanne who just got to the main roster. Like there's a lot of girls to focus on right now on the main roster. So that is why I think she would be better off over on NXT. Now, I don't know if she's going to come in as a babyface or a heel, but I would prefer her as a heel because again, she's really good at it. And I want them to allow her to be mean, like let her show her mean side because it's really, really fun. So who knows what we'll end up seeing from her on that end. But here's an odd kind of, because I started to think, okay, if she does go to NXT, who are some of the people I wanted her to feud with? So I have a couple of people that I think she would have good matchups with. And then I have somebody in mind that I think she should kind of become best friends with. So here are the people that I think she should feud with. Jada Parker, because Jada Parker's got so much attitude, and we know Mariah is very aggressive in the ring. I think her and Jada could bring that aggression and have a nice clash. The one that I think can be a money feud is legitimately Mariah May versus Lola Vice. I really do think if they play their cards right with that, that could be one of the next top storylines for the women of NXT because Lola Vice is so feisty and she's hungry, right? She's hungry. And I think that her with Mariah May's attitude, ooh, forget it. Like that, women are money. That I'm on board with. So that one's the one I most want to see, right? But I also want to see her work with Soruka. I want to see her work with Thea Hale. And now, the person that I strangely want her to become aligned with. So hear me out, guys. Mariah May did very well with eccentric personalities like Toni Storm, timeless Toni Storm, right? Beautiful. They made magic together. Then she also had a lot of fun with Mina Shirakawa, who's also very boisterous and fun and, really out there, right? When I think of somebody who's maybe totally opposite of Mina Shirakawa, but still has a unique character, someone that's liked on the show, but doesn't really have anything real major going on, she's lost a couple of friends and she may be looking for a friend and is kind of polar opposite of Mariah. But I think that personality wise, it's one of those odd couples that I think could work. Mariah May and Tatum Paxley. I think Mariah May and Tatum Paxley need to be BFFs. This is my dream scenario. This is my dream scenario. I want to see them become besties backstage, and I think they can have fun with this odd couple pairing. So if that happens, by the way, come back to this video and say, you did it. Woo, we did it. We got it. Denise's dream came true. So that's where I'm at right now in regards to that. So there you have it. My thoughts on Mariah May, possibly heading over to WWE, wishing her the very best of luck. And I cannot wait to interview her once she is in WWE because it's going to be different, of course. So I do have 2 interviews up with Mariah that you guys can check out. I have one that happened right before Hollywood ending, very brief, but if you guys want to watch it, you can. And then the other one that I have is more of a fuller interview where she talks more about her life and her upbringing and things like that. You can also watch that here. And then if you enjoyed this video, please make sure to subscribe to the channel. Plus, do not forget to let me know in the comments section below if you're a fan of Mariah May and what you're expecting from her once she goes to WWE. We'll see. All right, guys. Bye, everyone.